Day. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Minus 20 dB luffs.
Hello and welcome to the E Factor Radio Show. I'm your host, Cornelius Bryant, with special guest Brianna Prince. How you doing, Brianna?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. You know, for the people who may not know about our show from not last week, but 2 weeks ago, we were talking about living in a stressed out world.
Has it only been 2 weeks?
It's been 2 weeks, but
Goodness.
It seems only like a couple of days.
I
or
swear,
so.
it seems like we were just here.
I know. Now you see how
Interesting.
people feel when they have to work every day. Oh, every day I'm here and it's the weekend. I got to be right back again.
I guess I can't really relate to that because I'm working every day.
Well, that's part of what the stressed out world is doing, working every day, all day, never taking a break. But what's interesting is we talked about some of those things. Yeah, we talked about some of those things. We got our guy Joe here, our engineer Joe. Hey Joe, say hi to the good people. Yeah, he waved like, hey, yeah. But anyways, when we left off, you know, we were talking about a few things, but before we get back into it, we ended with you telling us about your 365-day journey and how, you know, you do things to change things up or do things out of the box. We talked about how maybe that can relieve stress. So let's pick it up because now it's over, right?
It is over, and I am so grateful and glad that it is.
Okay, but what did you learn from it? You know, what are some of the things and the ups and downs of being committed to that?
So I think I may have mentioned the last time, as soon as I did it, I immediately regretted it, you know, just because, but I felt obligated to continue with it because I already have put it out there. So there's that
Right.
accountability there. But the great thing is with accountability, you have, you know, something to hold you accountable to it. So like one question I like to ask myself is, who do you want to be? And by asking myself that question, it kind of helps me to figure out, well, do I want to be that person that stays committed, or do I want to see that be that person that kind of sees things sees something difficult and decides to fall back? Oh, it's too difficult, you know? And it's not that it was difficult. It's just that, you know, life happens, you know, it's hard to stay committed to something for that long because every day is different for me. So there were times when I'd fall asleep and do what I call take a nap at like 8:30 at night. There's no such thing as taking a nap at 8:30 at night. All of a sudden I'm waking up at 11 o'clock and I'm like, oh shoot, I got to do this video. And so I'm rushing to do the video, or I'll get home later and I go hop in the shower and get ready for bed. And I'm like, oh shoot, I have to do the video. So there was a lot of challenges with doing it, but the good thing about doing it is just that accountability side.
Well, I take 8:30 naps, so it's a
PM?
nap. PM.
Oh no.
I'm going to take a nap for a minute, but sometimes
For me,
it
it
wake
doesn't
up.
work. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
all of a sudden wake up in the middle of the night. So it doesn't really work for me.
Right, but one thing that you did do, you fulfilled your commitment. And the
Absolutely.
problem is a lot of people, no matter what or who they make this commitment to, it gets to a point where they stop or they use for an excuse, well, that's too much. I didn't expect it to be this hard. And so I commend you for completing that commitment.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, and you know, even though some days I would look, okay, all right, she's still going.
Yeah,
And-
I'm sure a lot of people felt that way. Oh my gosh, she's still there.
Yeah. So did you get any reactions from it when you finished?
Yeah, you know, there were people that would come up to me, oh my gosh, congratulations on being done with your video. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I'm glad that that part is done and over with. And, you know, I think people were just excited for the fact that I put out there a goal to do those videos every single
Right.
day, and that I actually accomplished it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
the cool thing is I feel like people were super supportive of that too.
right.
You know, so I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
Right. It's almost like when you run and everybody's all of a sudden that gets behind you, then halfway through they goes, wow, she's doing it. Now you got all this group, like when you pass that, they all right, they're cheering for you, like cheering for, oh, go.
Yeah.
You know, and then they see that goes, oh wow, you inspired me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, because that's critical. That a lot of times we don't realize, like when you have things going on in your own life, when you can jump on somebody's train like that and they're doing stuff and you, okay, all right, all right. And then it goes, wow, this person really committed to this. And, now I'm going to do something similar.
Yeah, I think everything kind of, as far as that goes, kind of goes back to the mindset and
Right.
who you identify as even as well. Because like I said earlier, like who do you want to be? Like which person do you want to be? Oh my gosh, that has been, I don't know, I've probably been asking myself that question for the past few years or so. And when I started asking myself that question, I just feel like it changed so much and put things into perspective for me to figure out who I wanted to be. But it does take a lot of discipline and accountability on your own part, because at the end of the day, you can come up with every excuse in the book, right? You're tired, you had a long day, you've been running for 24 hours straight, whatever the case may be. But this is something that I try my best, because it's easier to look at, identify things in other people's lives than your own. So for example, sometimes people are like, oh, I couldn't do this because of X, Y, Z. But at the end of the day, it's nothing more than an excuse. And the reason why I say that, I learned from Eric Thomas. And I loved this perspective where he said, if I told you to be here at 5:00 in the morning at the beach or something like that, don't quote me on exactly what he said. Anyone who knows Eric Thomas probably knows what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Where he talks about, meet me at the beach at 5:00 in the morning and I will give you $1 million or something like that. Are you going to be there? Absolutely, right? So if your question, no matter what, if you ask yourself that question, it doesn't matter what the number is. Let's say $10 million, $1 billion. You're going to figure out how you're going to make that happen, right? So then anything beyond that is what? An excuse. And so that's the kind of standard that I hold myself to when I'm thinking about, okay, what is if I say I'm going to do something and my intentions is to get something done, I have to check with myself, right? And say, hey, as long as I can make sure that, let me rephrase. If I tell myself I did not accomplish whatever the goal was, well, what's my excuse? And I'll call myself out on it because at the end of the day, if someone did come to me and say, hey, Brianna, I'll give you $1 million to have this done today, am I going to have it done? Yeah, I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to make sure it's done. You know what I mean? So it's perspective.
So there's no justification for it. You can't justify it not doing it, but it's still an excuse.
Yes. So I met a guy years ago. He's also in the life insurance industry. And I feel like I've been mentioning this guy a lot lately. I can't remember his name or anything. But what I thought was really powerful, I think this was probably back in 2017 when I met this guy. But he was talking about how he was in a life insurance appointment with a couple. And during that appointment, he's getting blown up by somebody, a family member, somebody, I don't remember who it was. But he asked his clients, hey, do you mind if I actually take this? They said yes. He took the call, finds out his brother had died. Now, he had just got off the phone with his brother, probably like 45 minutes before he met with these clients. And all of a sudden, instead of him dropping everything to go and attend to them, to his brother and his family, he finished up that conversation there and used that as a way on how important life insurance was. And then he went and handled it. Because he said that one thing he understood was no matter what, nothing he could have done could have brought his brother back.
Right.
So that was a constant. It wasn't going to change. But what he could do is protect that family from anything happening to them in the event something were to have happened at that time. And so I was like, wow, I was so blown away by that guy. I was like, I would have been gone. I would have went to go see my dad, my mom, my whoever, my brothers, sisters, or whatever.
It would have been justified at that time
Right.
had he left. And understandable, like, wow,
Absolutely.
that's important. Go take care of that. But
Right.
you're right. There's nothing you can do. But a lot of times people's perspective on certain things like that is like, oh, well, you should have went to be with your family, or
Right.
you should have went and did this, as
And people
opposed
would
to that.
definitely talk mess about
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you finish what you were set out to do, what was important,
Absolutely.
right? So no matter what the justification, an excuse is an excuse.
Yep.
Okay, you know what? We picked up we're going to pick up something because last week we were talking about, the stressed out world and all the people stressed out and things that stress them out. Like I said earlier, we were talking before we started the show about sometime I do work in my sleep and all that stuff and
Yeah.
how some people don't sleep. And we even asked Joe, do you sleep?
So.
A little bit, but it's that's habit forming, because you're putting other stuff that's more important to you, or you just can't help but worry. Some people are professional warriors. It's no matter what, they're going to worry about something. If they don't have something to worry about, they'll worry about, oh, the wind is blowing, maybe my neighbor's roof's going to blow off, stuff that's unimportant. But that's just the way they live, totally stressed out, and they thrive on stress. But when we talked about that, so I had to talk to a few people about, and I just took a few things that were the main causes of stress. And we'll just talk about that a little bit. And the first one I want to talk about is caring for 3 generations.
Caring for 3 generations?
Yeah,
What do you
caring
mean?
for 3 generations. What do I mean by that? Like, let's say, for example, your elderly parents, you yourself, and your kids.
How old are the kids?
How old are the kids? Well,
Are you talking about like young kids? or
young
something?
kids.
Okay.
Young kids. So now you're having to deal with all that. So that can be pretty stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what do you do? You're taking care of parents or maybe sometimes it's not necessarily a parent. It could be like a disabled child or somebody in the family, plus yourself, depending on your spouse, and then your children. So that's 3 generations or 3 separate entities that you're caring for.
I mean, I would be curious to know, like, someone in that dynamic, like, what do they do to manage it all? Because I feel like in almost anything you do, you really need a support system. So
Right.
especially when you have that kind of a workload, like, what kind of support system do you have? Like, who's there for you?
Yeah.
Is more of a question that I would be curious to know.
Yeah, so that is like, what do you do? What is your support system? But how do you find somebody to sort of like relieve you? You know,
Sounds like therapy would probably be a good option. I don't know.
but then that's another thing you have to worry about, going to therapy. So now you got all these things.
Hey,
plus
everything.
therapy.
Look, you can do things virtually now, so
Yeah.
that's a good option too. So
Yeah.
I think that one of the cool things is that, well, it could be a good thing and also a bad thing
Right.
with things being super automated now and convenient. The advantage is the convenience, but the disadvantage, I think, is probably the lack of ability to have like that interpersonal relationship and face-to-face contact. Because I feel like there is definitely a difference between me sitting here with you in person versus if you and I were doing this via Zoom.
Right, big difference. Because in person, you not only develop relationships, but you get a chance to see other people, and you get a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
So if you're doing something like that online or whatever, you're still in that same environment, but now you're just talking to somebody and over the whatever, and then all this stuff is still going on around you, so there's no escaping. At least you go out, you get a break from it, you get an escape from it, temporary or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's always good. Yeah, so it's well, I hope never to be in that situation, but I do know people who are in similar situations, and like say, how do you get a break from it or anything like that, which is hard because now you have to have somebody who you can really rely on or trust to come in and take over those duties while you are out and about doing whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah. And then sometimes, of course, you have that cost factor in there as well. So, yeah. If you're talking about, like, as far as taking care of older parents
Right.
or something like that, or children with disabilities, depending on what that disability is. Yeah.
Right. Then the attachment, then the person, if you come in on a temporary basis, what relationship would you have with the people in that short time you come in and then leave out? And, depending on what it is, like a lot of times I know personally from people who I've known where their parents or somebody starts getting dementia or something like that, and they're trying to take care of them, not put them in a facility.
Yeah.
But it can be hard, the struggles that
Yeah.
goes with it, especially if this person is still healthy enough and strong, and you're trying to manage them physically, and they can, depending on who you are, they become abusive toward you. But in your heart, you really don't want to put them in a facility because of the love you have from, but sometimes that's the only alternative you have.
Yeah, that's definitely not my experience, and I don't walk that life every
Yeah.
day. But I have heard of instances where it's very difficult for people to manage. First of all, seeing a loved one with dementia and you see them forget who you are. And then on top of that, they become basically something completely different than who they are as a person.
Right.
Because something, I guess, is lost there. And so then all of a sudden you have them not acting in manners that they would normally act like. So I remember hearing about a lady who was a caregiver to a lady that was just completely verbally abusive to her, and the lady still continued working for the lady. I know I'm saying lady too much, but, she kept working and stuff like that. And it's like, it's brutal. It was really
Right.
brutal. I'm like, man, and it's unfortunate because the lady doesn't know what she's, the one with the dementia didn't know what she was doing. You know what I mean? So it's hard. I mean, I can only imagine what it's like to be a caregiver. That seems kind of tough.
Right, because I know at one point my wife's grandmother was staying with us because, she had started developing dementia. And so since, all the kids would take turns in the family to watch out for her, but since she raised her, she felt like that she needed help too with the grandmother. And so I would come home. I came home once, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you this story on the other side of this commercial because it's funny, but yet not funny.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go to a commercial. We'll be back in a few minutes.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation or call our CEO for details. 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
Hello, and welcome back to the E-Factor Radio Show. I'm your host, Cornelius Bryant, and we have Brianna Prince here. And right before we went to commercial, I was going to tell you about an experience I had with my, would it be like grandmother-in-law or whatever? But anyways, at this particular time as she had gotten older, all the kids decided, okay, that we'll take turns taking care of her. So when she came to our house, I went to work one day. And so I get home from work, I walk in the house. Of course, you're not really thinking. You're thinking we're just going to do life as normal. This was when she first got there. And I walk in, I'm calling her name, and no one answers. I look around the house. I mean, the house was but this big. Not like you had to go look far to know. And I didn't see her. And so I'm like, I'm looking. So I get in my car and I start driving around. And she was walking down the street.
Oh, my goodness.
She had left out the house and she was walking down the street. So I was like, I'm calling her. Let's go back home. Let's go back to the house. And, of course, she didn't remember who I was. And so she starts screaming and yelling, and so people are looking at me like, oh, he's trying to attack this lady. I'm trying to coax her in the car, and people are looking. I'm like, wow, I'm going to end up going to jail.
Yeah.
They're going to think, because she's going to say she don't know me. So
That's
finally,
scary,
I talked to her for a few minutes, and then she goes, oh. And then she came back like, oh, it was just normal. You know, we went home. And so I was like, wow, what an experience. So it could be very difficult taking care of people. And it's like, how do you manage certain situations? And that was a situation I was like, I'm totally unfamiliar with, and I didn't have a clue what was going on. I'm just thinking, you know, that things happen. I wasn't familiar with dementia, that they don't remember you at some time, and all these things can happen. So that was an experience for me.
Interesting. Yeah, that seems, I would be terrified if
Yeah.
that happened. Like if I was with someone who I did know, but they couldn't remember me, especially because obviously people want to help and, protect the community as much as
Right.
possible. So if I saw something like that, yeah, I would absolutely call the cops. I'm not
Right,
gonna lie. Not
right.
knowing that you actually did know her, but if she's like rejecting, yeah, without knowing the entire information, of course.
Right. And it was like, okay, how do I prove that she knows? I'll be like, oh, no, she knows me.
Yeah.
She's like, no.
How do you prove that?
Because no, that don't work. And
Yeah.
so, because I know even once a friend of mine that I work with, his mother took off, and they were on the news, and they finally found her like 2 days later.
Oh gosh.
Somebody had found her, and she was staying with him until they saw her on the news. And it was like, wow, yeah, we just saw her, and she just came home with them. Thinking, well, didn't you think to call the police? Hey, I found a strange lady here. But they took care of her and stuff, but it doesn't always work out like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and so
That's
that
scary.
could be, yeah, it was very scary. And so that's a thing that could stress out. And another thing is cost of living.
Oh, that's a big problem
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, cost of living. I know that sometimes I wonder, because, you know, all my kids are grown, is how do families even manage? You know, you have these kids and all these things you have to take care of. And
Yeah. That's what I'm saying right now, at least with us living in California. I think that with the increase of everything, I don't know how families, I'm just one person. I can handle me, but I think about people who are families. Like I have a friend, she has 4 kids and her husband. Like, I don't know how people are doing it, especially with the way everything is right now. Like, I don't even understand how people are buying homes and affording a $4,000 a month payment,
Right.
And so, and even minimum wage, I know that this can kind of be a little bit controversial, but minimum wage going up to $20 an hour or something like that, or at least at McDonald's or something.
right.
I just don't see how all of this is coming about, because what people kind of forget or maybe don't know, like if you're a young kid and you hear that $20 an hour, you're thinking that's a great thing because it sounds great, right? You're going to get more money, but what does that actually mean? The cost of everything else is going to go up. So if your income isn't going to keep up with everything else going up, then you're actually losing money in a sense because your dollar isn't being stretched the same way as it was.
Right, because that's like you say, they don't realize that. So now you have to raise the prices of everything, and then you have to cut the amount of employees you have, because
yeah.
people don't realize that as an owner, especially in a business like that,
Right.
where everything is determined, your success is determined on how many people come into your store or
Yeah.
come to your restaurant or go through your McDonald's line. If it gets too high, like we're talking about, the families can't afford it. So what are they going to do? They're going to cut back.
Of course. And I think that people actually also have to be a little patient too, because with the increase of everything, I'm not a business owner that has employees and stuff. So, I'm operating a little bit different. However, if I was a business owner and with employees and I relied on, and I had a lot of employees that were getting paid X amount of dollars per month, and now it had to increase to $20 a month, $20 an hour,
Right.
then yeah, I'm probably going to do some cutbacks, which means that is going to cause more stress on those employees that are working there. And then people who are coming in for whatever they're buying, let's just say fast food, let's talk about McDonald's, they're probably going to get a little bit upset when it's taking longer than they would expect to get their order and things like that.
Right, because now you're paying twice the price almost, and it's taking longer. That takes the fast out of that food. 'Cause I know a few weeks ago we went to McDonald's for breakfast, and when they told us the price, I was like, "What? $20 for two people for breakfast?" You know, I forgot what it was, a croissant and a sausage and a milk or something like that. $20. I was thinking, wow, you know, we could have went to Denny's and got a special for that price, but you know, you try to do it for the convenience, but it takes the convenience out. Like you say, then you have to be patient with the employees who are left, and we're not patient.
I feel like social media kind of has put us that way too. You know, even just the fact that people will not watch. And one of my friends actually talked to me about that, about my videos that I do. She's like, try to make them shorter, because I've noticed that with me, talking about herself, that I have such a short attention span. So she was telling me that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know, I don't use social media like that, so I'm not actively on there. But for her, she said that she just scrolls, watches a little bit, scrolls, and keeps going. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting, but good to know, because she's your common person that is on social media viewing everything that's there.
Right. Our attention span is shorter because, like I say, it's almost like we're living in a microwave society here, and everything has to be quick. You know, you have to get to the point and get done with it because I have something else to do, or
Amazon.
You know, Amazon.
I say Amazon because, like, now, like, I do get frustrated if something takes longer than 2 days to get to me. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's like, if I need it as soon as possible. Now, there's some things that I'll order and I don't care when it arrives, you know, but generally if I'm buying something, it's because I need it now.
Well, you have to figure. Look at all the things it has to go through, the delivery, the shipping, all that. So if the cost of living is high, you have to cut back on those employees because you got to raise the price. Now, that 2 days is...
Well, my point is this, like with Amazon doing it within 2 days, 2 days is fine, right? But if you place an order, and so 2 days is now what we're used to because the majority of us actually use Amazon. So if we go over and purchase something from Best Buy and they tell us it's going to take a week, guess where I'm going? Straight to Amazon.
So now that makes the cost of living for those people at Best Buy worse because now you're not even going to the store.
Yeah.
You're cutting them out.
Are they going out of business? Oh, so other. Okay.
Yeah, so we have people in the audience at the show, see, because now if you guys want to be a part of our audience, you know, we'll give you some information later. Well, maybe you can come and sit in while we do the live taping or the show here. But you're costing those people at Best Buy their job by going to Amazon.
Okay. I feel like this is a real big conversation, and I don't want to get too far into it.
Right.
Because I was just talking with some friends yesterday about how technology is advancing. Is that true or is that false?
That's true.
Facts, right?
Yeah.
There's no avoiding it, right? So when you think about where the future is headed, are we going more toward digital or not? We're absolutely headed toward digital. And this is my perspective on it. You can either sit and fight it and delay getting on that all you want to, or you can jump on board and ride the wave. Either way, you're getting to the same destination. It's in one direction, though. You're going to get there faster and be ahead of the curve, or you can be left behind and eventually get there. So to me, I'd rather just go ahead and get there. I feel like that was me when, I think I mentioned this the last time. I think I did. So back in 2017, I had a client tell me that I should do videos and stuff. And I did like one video and then kind of stopped. Anyway, so needless to say, I didn't do it, right? And so now I think about it, I'm like, dude, I regret not doing it. Like, how much further off could I have been if I actually started doing the videos, doing them consistently, and having content out there? And so now I'm just like, I'm looking at AI, and I see that, look, I can fight it like I did back then. All I want to. It is going there whether I like it or not.
Right.
So I can either delay and regret it later, or go ahead and jump and do it. So I'm jumping and doing it.
Right. You know, but me, I like that stuff too. But see, like we were talking about, sometimes you got to get out of your where you are and go somewhere different. I liked going out. I still like going out to the stores and stuff and looking around.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Just
when
to
I have time.
Yeah. See, I create time for it. I mean, that's one of my things. I go out that way you can see people. You know, we like to do what I call people watch. You know, you go out sometime, you just see the different people, and you know, you're just out there, and then it's funny. Like right here in California, it's 105 degrees, but yet you go some places and people have on jackets and hats and all that stuff.
It'd be 100 degrees. I'm still with the jacket on.
Yeah, because that's just people's style, and they're just like, you know, I just have to have this jacket on. I have to have this on, and so we go out and just people watch, and that breaks the monotony of just being at home and stuff. So that stuff is good. What you say, AI is good, but AI is never going to replace personal human contact.
Oh, I'm not saying that it will.
No.
But we are going toward digital, whether you like it or not.
Oh, yeah, we are. But I'm going to be like, okay, I'll get my stuff and have it delivered in 2 days, but I'm just going to go waste time and suck up somebody else's air.
Of course. Hey, no problem with that.
And so I know that they say that even AI is, I'll tell you about what Elon Musk said about AI. Just 2 days ago, I read this article since we're talking about AI. But we'll pick this up on the other side of this commercial. We'll be back in a few.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1 hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation, or call our CEO for details, 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right. Welcome back to the E Factor Radio Show. I'm your host, Cornelius, and this is Brianna. Hey, when we stopped, we were talking about AI. And I just read this article the other day. Elon Musk says, you know, this great guy, he says in the future, AI is going to be doing all the work.
100%.
We're not going to do anything. AI is going to do everything. What we're going to do, we're just going to have a thing where everybody gets paid a certain amount of money. You know, it's like sort of like universal health care. Everybody's just going to get paid a certain amount of money, you know, but AI will do all the work. And so that means that, or would that mean that now there's no more millionaires and billionaires, except the people who own the AI companies? And here you have to sit here almost like you're getting a welfare check, you know, but AI is doing all the work because there's no need for humans. I know once we went to Vegas and it was funny. They have this bar thing. Was it Vegas? Oh, no, it was on a cruise ship. Anyways, they had this this robot making the drinks. And, you know, it was funny. The robot's making the drinks. So you order your drink, and then the robot makes the drinks, and they're doing all these different things. You're all amazed. Wow, look at the robot. You know, he makes the drinks for you, and then he gets done, and, you know, you have the drink. It tastes the same. But then you realize later that eliminates some human jobs.
100%.
You know,
That's a conversation I've been wanting to have with a group of people. Just like, what is everyone's thoughts on that? Because I think that, first of all, when we can brainstorm together, because I have my thoughts and ideas on that sort of thing. And I would love to hear other people's perspectives and opinions and stuff like that. I think that would be a really good conversation to have, to just have a bunch of people kind of get together and talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, but it was the future.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I feel like it goes back to what I was saying, like, it's going to go there anyway, right?
Right.
So you can fight it all you want to, but it's going there. I know it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so pretty soon we'll just sit here and...
WALL-E. If you have not seen the movie WALL-E, I feel like when I watched that movie, when was that? That was like in... Say it again? Yeah, it's been a while since that movie has been out, but when it came out and I saw it, I was like, that is the future that we are headed towards.
So what was WALL-E?
Oh, you never seen it? Ooh, okay. So basically, I can't. It's been a long time since I've actually seen it, but it's a true depiction on what, in my opinion, we're headed toward. Where everything is literally at our fingersteps. All we do is sit and do nothing. Anything that we want or need comes to us in the click of a button.
Wow, let's hope they keep the doctors around, because we're going to be sitting there doing nothing with them clicks of button, and boy.
Yeah, you got to be intentional about that sort of thing to make sure that you stay active.
Yeah, we'll have to get a AI, hey, go exercise for me. I'm feeling stressed out.
For you? What?
Yeah, you got to exercise, then you import that whatever you did into me, so I'll be like, oh, I feel good now.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, but if you're sitting there doing nothing, eventually,
yeah.
Even I was talking to someone, a teacher, and she was saying how now, because I know I have a granddaughter, and they have the Chromebooks and all this stuff that they do work on, and sometimes you're doing stuff and you're so used to using computers to you're not thinking anymore. I went to a gas station and I paid for my stuff, and so I guess the computer was down, and so the clerk was trying to figure out how much change to give me, and it was so funny. I mean, this is no lie. It was so funny because she's sitting there, she's going, and after a while, then she picks up a calculator and she's punching a calculator, and so after a while, I go, wow, she doesn't know how to make change. And so I told her, let's say, for example, 1040. She goes, is that what it is? I say, yeah. So she just opens the register and she gives me the money.
Yeah.
I goes, wow, because, we're not thinking for ourselves. Like you say, AI, even though they talk about AI doing the schoolwork for the people now, writing the reports.
Yep.
And so, you just tell AI to do it and sit back, but now you know nothing.
That's what... Oh, really? That's a thing? Interesting.
Who writes anymore? Uh-oh.
My kid doesn't write cursive.
Oh,
wow.
Are you serious?
Wow, we're talking about, because kids don't use pencils anymore because everybody's using laptops, that they don't know how to write.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And our engineer, Joe, says, Joe, can I tell him what you said?
Of course. He's 17? Oh.
Joe, and our engineer Joe said that his son is 13 years old and he doesn't know how to write in cursive. He can read a little bit, but he can't not write too good. But you know what? But that's where we are. Like you said, this is where we're going to. So we can't fight it.
Or maybe we can. I don't know. I don't think there's any point in fighting it.
No.
Because to me, it seems like we're going that way. Like I said, I was fighting social media, when it became super popular, but did it benefit me in any way to fight it? No, it didn't. It didn't help me at all. So, but this kind of even goes back to what we were talking. Well, we weren't talking about it, but cell phones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we may have talked about that the last time I was here too, where, when back in the day, we actually had to remember everyone's phone numbers.
Right.
So for me, if your phone number has changed since like 2000, 2009. If I didn't know your phone number from 2009, I don't know your number. Why? Because I have a cell phone that has all my contacts stored in there. But if I knew you from back then, I still know your phone number. because that's just the difference with how technology was back then versus how it is now. Like now, we don't need to remember phone numbers. But of course, if you end up stranded or whatever, then
yeah,
that's a whole different conversation.
Right. And it's funny because I've had the same number since 1998. And people's number, like say, I put in the cell phone because it seems like it changes every 6 months or so.
Yeah, I won't change my number.
You know, the numbers change, different numbers. Oh, I tried to call. Oh, here's my new number.
Yeah.
And it's very few numbers that I remember from way back when. And it just goes to show you that we emerge and become better at some things, other things, we lose those little things that makes us human.
Yeah.
You know, just the small things, and, you know, like texting.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Most people, they'd be like, oh, don't call me, text me.
Well, okay. It depends, right? Because I say text me out of convenience. I don't always have the time to sit and talk on the phone about nothing. Text me if you need me or something like that. Do I prefer texting? I actually don't. But it just depends, because if it's if you're trying to get in touch with me and it's important, why are you texting me? That text message is going to get viewed when I have an opportunity to kind of sit back a little bit and check my messages. Otherwise, my phone calls, I pretty much answer immediately.
Right.
As long as I'm not busy.
Now they have Messenger. What is that, DMs and stuff? And people they'll message me. I goes, oh, I was trying to reach you. Well, how? Oh, I messaged you 2 days ago or 3 days or whenever it was. I goes, why don't you just call me or text me? You know? But, you know, that's the new generation. That's the new thing. And I guess I'm behind. You know, I still go to malls and look at stuff.
Hey,
and
there's nothing wrong with that. That's
do
a good
stuff like
thing.
that.
Yeah,
I still call people and all that. But, you know, that's because I'm a person's person. You know what I mean? I like to see people and get involved. I like to talk to people and do all that stuff. And I know it's like you go places and people are sitting next to each other and they're texting and goes, wow, you're sitting right next to them. You can't say that.
I feel like it all kind of depends too, right, on what the situation is. So for example, you know, me and you are here talking. If I wanted to say something private to you without, you know, the person across from me knowing, then yeah, I might text you or something like that. Now, how often do I do that? Literally, I've never had to do that. But, you know, I'm just saying, like, there are instances in which that sort of thing kind of makes sense to kind of do, or I don't know.
So we're talking about this person.
I would never.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just saying.
I don't like that.
Maybe not you, but maybe that's what people are doing. Oh,
I hope not.
Look at Sally. I can't stand her. Why is she even here? You know, but you know, you're wondering why don't people talk, even if you're not saying anything negative about people.
Life is too short for that. If
you
don't enjoy being around someone, don't be around that person. My goodness,
but
that's
you know,
crazy.
but I like to talk because then when you're talking to people, you know, you get the reaction and all. I'm like, what? Especially you say 4 hours stuff like last week when I goes, oh, we're gonna have you talk about it. He goes, what? You know.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know, we're gonna take our final break of the day and we'll be back in a few minutes and then we're gonna wrap it up.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation or call our CEO for details. 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right, welcome back. So, we're talking about all these different things, but of course, time. Matter of fact, at the break, we were just talking about time and how valuable time is, and explaining that like when you're younger and they say something about time, and time is one thing you can't get back. And so we were talking about doing these different things, but time is the one thing you can't get back.
Right.
Time is priceless. When you're younger, you don't realize it, but as you get older, you go, wow,
I feel like, so I know that I was mentioning that during the break and everything, but it's not that I didn't fully understand what it was. I think it just means, I'll put it this way, it means something different to me now that I'm older.
Right.
Because time is something that I understood. I've been in the life insurance industry since I was like 19 or 20. I was very young. So I saw things very differently than most people. So I was 23 and my friends would make fun of me because I actually had my will in place. People still laugh at me for that because it's like, why are you thinking about that? You're young. Well, because people freaking die every day. I'm not promised tomorrow. So yeah, I do have that taken care of because I want to make sure that, whatever I have goes to who I want it to go to. I don't want the state or my family making those decisions for me. But when it comes to time, I was talking about just the fact that sometimes people want to do everything themselves. And the one thing that I didn't understand, and I think it's more of my business mind that I have grown into that has adapted over time. So I made mention of the fact that I never understood when people would say, oh, I'm going to have somebody do my laundry for me or cook for me or, teach the kids for me or anything like that. Those were all things that I just did not understand. But when you really break things down into time and your per hour basis, then it actually makes sense. Like how much are you worth on an hourly basis? If it's greater than you taking the time to pay somebody else to do those, to outsource those things, such as doing laundry, then pay someone to do it. So that's something that I just did not understand for the longest time, but now it's something that I completely understand. It's not worth my time to spend 5 hours doing laundry. Yes, I do understand, like, you can put the laundry away. Like, the laundry does the majority of the work itself, but it's still time. Again, the one commodity we cannot get back.
That's right, because that thing that goes with time is getting old. And it's things that you can do now that you're not going to be able to do later in life. You don't think about that.
Yeah.
And as you say, but your age, with my age, I look back, I goes, wow. Some things that even with some worries and things that I've done, that was a waste of my time. That was a waste of my time. Put so much thought into this or that. And you look years later, you go, man, at the time you're going through something, it's different. But once you get past it, you look back, that was years wasted. I could have been doing other stuff. So time is very valuable. And like I say, you can't get it back. And as you get older and older, you look at things different. Like you said, when you were at that age, you had your plans for that. But then as you get older, you see things different. Like, wow, not only do I need to value time more, I need to value people more. Mm-hmm. Because time with those people is not forever either. And it's like sometimes, we're talking about stresses, and people will go through life for years with grudges against somebody. And then you think, wow, what am I mad about? What happened? And a lot of times they don't remember what happened, but all that time you wasted, time and energy you wasted being angry with these people or holding grudges, you could have used that energy for enjoyment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, time, of course, is that thing that you cannot get back. But at the end of the day, because, like, am I perfect? Absolutely not. I would never claim to be such. But, I think that when you're talking about time too, like, because a lot of people look at me, Brianna, you work too hard, you need to slow down and stuff like that. And when I'm told that, what a lot of people don't understand is that what I'm doing right now is making some sacrifices now in order to have that freedom in the future.
Right.
So I think that when you have that kind of a goal, it's a little bit different. Yes, I do recognize, like, for example, like when hanging out with friends, I mean, it's gotten to a point where a lot of my friends don't even ask me anymore because they know that the answer is going to be no. And it's unfortunate because, yes, time is that one thing we cannot get back. And if something were to happen to one of them, absolutely, it'll be going on in my head. If only I would have done this differently. But at the same time, I do do my best to make that time for them when I can. But it just can't be all the time. You know what I mean? Because again, I have like my goals and things that I want to get to, so that way I can alleviate that extra time in the future.
Okay, good. Well, speaking of time, we're running out of time now. But what we're gonna do is I'll talk to you after the show. So we're talking about goals and time. Maybe we should do a little show on goal and time, sort of like the goals you set and your time management, because sometimes we overload ourselves, and that's stressful too. And so we'll talk about that. But in the future, we got some really great guests coming up. And on the 4th Saturday in August, we got one of our show favorites coming back, our Harold K. Weber. He'll be back. A lot of you remember him. Oh, that's the mayor calling me. I'll take that call later. And so he'll be back. We have more people that's going to be coming, really exciting people on the show. We even, because I'm looking at your hair and I'm looking at my hair, and we're going to have a person on the show who's going to talk about.
By the way, guys, he's bald, so.
Yeah, so see what I mean? So we're going to talk about, somebody's going to talk about hair and all that stuff about growing hair and losing hair. Because I know we see a lot of times like women lose their hair and all this stuff. And so we're going to just have them that give us a little information on what we can do. And, you know, in my case, what I should have done. But we'll see you back here. Don't laugh now. Time is going to catch up with you. You may have no, I'm talking to Joe, of course. But anyways, hey, thank you guys for joining us, and we will be back in 2 weeks. So we're on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of every month. And thank you very much. This is Cornelius and
Brianna Prince.
All right. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Supply the words, you paint the picture. KCAA.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Spear, a licensed agent with Litchfield Insurance Associates here in Beaumont. A large portion of Americans don't have life insurance or don't have enough. Whether you need a temporary policy, something to help with income during retirement, or making sure your final expenses are taken care of, having life insurance is an act of love and security for your whole family. Having a local trusted agent makes navigating through the sometimes complex world of life insurance so much easier. And I would love to be the one to help you. I'm Kaylee Spear. For your free consultation, people are calling 951-769-0005. 951-7